All right, we're back. Episode 13, the Dirty Dozen episode of Boots and Scarves. This is the supporters group edition where normally we would be fielding questions from other supporters, normally in Ottawa, or even friends of ours who are supporters and, kind of pulling questions from each other to fit the theme. But this time we flipped the table. We got questions from players this time who are asking us questions, but it's me. I'm doing my job. I'm, asking the panel here. So without further ado, got Stefan over in the next room. Yes, we are in the same apartment. Then we have El Presidente, first woman in office for Bytown Boys. Jessica, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right. Now, which direction do I go next?
Ups and downs. They're all weird.
Go south. Okay, so this is a very important person in supporters culture in North America. Not just her involvement with FC Dallas and supporting that club, and as well as women's football. Her involvement with the ISC is incredible. Anyway, everyone, please give it up for Bailey.
Yay.
And then this guy, normally he doesn't need an introduction, but he's a seriously dear friend of ours. We really revere him as a brother. All those times we go to Toronto for Canada matches, even MLS stuff, even road trips, down to Montreal and stuff. We share lots and lots of incredible memories, despite results sometimes. But it's the time spent together that counts most. Everyone, please say hello to Chris.
Yes. So I feel like I'm at the bar again, seeing all my old friends. I haven't seen in ages.
So the way this goes, we've got 11 questions as usual. Everyone gets a chance to answer, and I'll just delegate it as we go. Cool? All right. Right off the bat, Jessica, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. So question number one from the players, and these are from various CanPL players.
No,
it's just...
They're just from Atletico Ottawa.
Just Atletico?
Yeah.
We're going to work on other ones. Don't worry.
Working on it.
You want me to sell a bridge, don't you? So give an example of the kinds of songs and chants that we can expect to be sung by your fellow group.
There's so many to choose from. I will admit, this one chant I was not a huge fan of when we first started singing it, but it grew on me. So I'm going to say Red is the Color.
Okay, cool. Down to Texas. What's up?
It's weird. I will be the first to admit that I just feel like sometimes supporters are just not very creative when it comes to chants, and every club kind of does the same ones. One that I really, really miss doing with my DBG family, the Dallas Beer Guardians, is our Boys in Red. And I know other people do it with their own colors and stuff like that. But, it's one of those that really just brings our entire section together. And I just really miss the community with
real sentimental value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris.
So I got to pick a favorite?
Sure.
I just a missed list of things.
You can list off a bunch. You can do whatever.
Our traditional one is our Danny Dicchio one. You'll always hear that.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you'll hear that at the 23rd minute, honoring our legends. Basically, why we keep that going. Yeah. But you also, on the verge of a win near the end of the game, you hear our famous "The Bounce."
Yeah.
Built the house on Lakeshore for the Reds.
Yes.
And a lot of the supporter chants are repurposed and similar sounding. A lot of same tunes, even across the world. Mm-hmm. But it's always nice when there's little twists and things like that. Because what can you do? But people know songs and they run with it. But it's the twists that make it local, and that the players respond to because they recognize themselves in it or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, also since all three of us picked red related. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? The teams, there's only so many football colors.
Yeah.
But red is a good one. Red is a good one.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
It's straight fierce.
I think
All right, Steph?
I'm going to go with something I'd love to see done in Ottawa. I like my sea chanties, pirate themed bands. The one I found recently is called Ye Privateers. No, Ye Banished Privateers, sorry. And the song is Cooper's Rum, and the chorus is Heidi do rum, Heidi do more rum. Then there's a line, repeat, and then a new line. Who doesn't like singing about rum? Yeah, it is Ottawa. I don't think rum's a very big thing in Ottawa, but there's enough of us in the group that adore rum. So I want to try and bring out new stuff. We really haven't tried new stuff for a long time. We had our ups and downs in the USL, people leaving because of coach, or people not liking that they didn't go to CPL, or they're not liking the section we were in, like people through their own protests, as it were. So it was hard to get new chants going, but I think once we start getting some new chants going, we're going to have some more fun again, because then we'll just be stupid, start and make up stuff and go, you know how idiotic that makes you sound? Yeah? What's your point? Okay. Have fun.
All right, next. I'll get Bailey to start us off here. So this is one that actually really interests me a lot and has been for years. This is really obscure too. What colors do you think the goalkeeper kits are going to be down for FC Dallas? And would you be interested in purchasing one?
So we've already had 2 home games. So I should know the colors of our but I don't. Usually they range from either like the standard, because MLS is Adidas, so usually like black and like that light sky blue color are usually kind of what's going on. Yeah. We actually have had some goalkeeper, I don't want to say drama, in Dallas, which I'm super excited because Jimmy Maurer is now our starting keeper, and obviously I'll talk about the other stuff to y'all later. But as long as we have somebody who is in good moral standing in goal right now is really all that I care about in Dallas. I don't really care what color they're wearing. But I would not buy the jersey. But that's not because I don't like it. It's because I'm trying to save money and half of my closet is already and I can only fit so many. So, yeah.
Cool. Chris.
Yeah, so we did have games, so they were kind of, unveiled or whatever. But we're always tied to, it's weird, we're always tied to what Adidas decides is the annual look or whatever. So, and then I think last year it was like fairly standard, like almost every keeper only had this teal aqua thing.
Yeah.
But then I think this probably some of the keepers complained or whatever, so there's some variation this year, and I think there's like a fluorescent orange and like variations on the light blue color to go with.
Look it up.
So they're pretty standard. It's just up to the keeper to pick what one they want to stick with. But I think it's like a fluorescent orange kind of color, or like a yellow. Cool. And I'm fine with that. I mean, I like to see variation because like I cannot do anything with a teal blue keeper kit for TFC because that's not going to win me any friends. But in the past though, there's been some green ones and stuff it's handy to have like a green kit when you've got a St. Patrick's Day game going on or like around Christmas, right? Like just to mix it up. Like those, that's why I like those kits because they're handy for like themes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
All right. On to Steph.
So I'm gonna go with a kit concept that OSEG was talking about, but never materialized with the Adidas. So purple and dark green. It's really but the problem with purple is if we play Pacific, their kits are purple, so they'll have to stick to the dark green one. But that's the reason for goalies kits. They can be interchangeable. They don't have to be, well, you have to wear purple with the home kit. Well, no, you don't. You can wear green if the purple clashes with the away team. You have two, so I'm going to go purple and green. I'd love to go glow in the dark, but it's been done to death already, so we're going to go with purple and green.
Jess?
I can see it being a highlighter green, the goalkeeper jersey. Kind of going with taking a look at what Atletico Madrid, their goalkeeper, and considering our home jerseys are a little bit similar with differences, but similar to their home kits, I can see us following suit and it being some sort of green in it. And if I liked the jersey enough, I actually would buy the keeper jersey.
Cool. All right.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm with Bailey on buying. I'm starting to get a lot of kits, and it's cheaper to have a scarf collection than a jersey collection. Let's be realistic.
All right, Chris. So, what are your expectations heading into the next bit of the season now that you guys have already started?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think my expectations are kind of like okay. I think we're gonna do all right. The team was in, a good state before our little break here, but the tournament, like it just depends on how their training's been going. Like, have they kept up their fitness? So I'm just looking forward to, like them getting hot at the right time. We're gonna have so many games, like it's a tournament format, right? So
right
format.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play a bunch of games in sequence. So
Should be fun.
should be good.
Okay.
Watching it like, come on.
Jess.
I didn't really know how to answer this question, considering we haven't seen any of the training videos, which, I mean, they don't really have to show us, but we haven't even seen them kick a ball yet. So I guess I'm really just excited for our season to finally start, to see how the players all mesh well together or not, and see what they can bring.
Absolutely. And Bailey.
We started off our year really good. But MLS is back, and FC Dallas actually left this morning. I did not go to the send-off just because I'm really weird about COVID right now. But the talk is that Dallas might actually do pretty well in this tournament just because of how the seeding is done and how everything is kind of figuring out. I know that Fafa Picault, I don't know that he traveled today. Word on the street is that he had a positive test. But Franco Yara is now with us and traveled. So he will be in Orlando with us. So we have two really solid strikers with him and Cobra up at the top. And I think, with some of the I say young experience that we have on the field, because all of our homegrowns that are playing, I'm just really, really excited to see what they do. And, word on the street is also that we're going to have some finish out games after the tournament to try to finish out the season. And, if anybody, I don't know how many of you guys watched it. Obviously I did, but when Dallas played Seattle in playoffs this past year, that was one of the probably best games of the 2019 playoff season. It was phenomenal. And granted, yes, we do have to play Seattle right out, for the event. But I really think that with a healthy team and some more support in these different areas, I think Dallas, we're going to be a team to reckon with within not just 2020, but 2021. I don't see a lot of pieces falling apart with the team. I think it's just a solid team that's moving together.
Cool. Steph.
I'm shocked at how much faith in a team. I haven't heard that much faith in ages in any team. So that's amazing to hear. But with us, again, well, Jess stole my answer. We're not going to have
I stole an answer.
We haven't seen them.
Without somebody saying anything first.
Yeah.
You've witnessed history.
But no, she's right. We haven't really seen him kick a ball. We've seen a few play games in the past because, well, for us, the young lad, Antoine Copeland, how we've seen him play, but we need to really see him kick a full 90 minutes. We've only seen him really come in as a sub. And I want to see him do the full 90. Like, I think he can. I want to see it. But until I actually see the lad on the pitch, I can't say he's that good. So
Cool.
I think we might finish in this tournament. Maybe I'm going to say 6th, 5th. I'm giving them some hope because
I'll take it.
Hart's coaching Wanderers, and yeah, Stephen Hart, sometimes his team falls apart.
All right, Steph, we're sticking with you. So if you could have a behind-the-scenes documentary about any one football player, who would it be and why?
As much as I want to try and keep this local, I want to go with Alan Hutton. He's now retired, but he used to play for Villa. But apparently he used to get up to some fun shenanigans playing for Villa. But he'd be at the bar till 2 a.m, get in at 7. But he'd stop drinking at 9. And he just from what I've been hearing, fun shit disturber. Like he convinced people to start doing karaoke songs on the table, like at midnight, and he's been just drinking water for 3 hours, and he's convincing everybody, let's have some fun. These are all stories, but you've seen some of the way he played for Villa, just random runs. You go, where are you going? Like,
Right.
You're a defender. What are you doing in the box? Get back. So, yeah, I want to hear what people are yelling at him when he does something stupid as well.
And Jess.
I went with somebody that was with Ottawa Fury since essentially since the beginning in the PDL days. He had been our captain for quite a few years, so I went with Carl Howarth.
Cool. Chris?
Oh, I thought we were supposed to keep it within our teams. I don't know. I wasn't thinking world football.
You can.
I don't
You
know.
can.
You can. You can go wherever you want, mate.
Oh man. Well, okay. I'll do 2. On one hand, I want to know what Lionel Messi is doing at all hours, and then TFC wise, I'd like to know what Josie Altidore is doing in his day.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it feels like an invasion of privacy, but like, you don't know what. I don't know. I want to know, where they're getting their motivation when they wake up, and like, what he gets up to before he just appears on the pitch and puts the ball in the net or whatever.
Right.
I don't know.
All right, Texas.
So when this question was originally posed to me, it said, what Canadian Premier League?
Right.
And I was like, and then I was like, Kyle Becker. He played for FC Dallas. And now,
Wow.
But I retract that statement now that the question has been brought in. No offense to Mr. Becker. But I would really, really like to see, I guess it's not one player, but it's like one kind of group of players. The idea of the young American players going to Bundesliga. I would like to see like a behind the scenes documentary that kind of looks at that process, just because we have so many over there. So maybe not focusing on one in particular, but looking at these North American kids who are developing here and then going and playing over in Germany.
Awesome. All right, Bailey, I'm sticking with you.
All right.
So if you could mic up one player during a game, who would you like to mic up?
I have 2, so I'm breaking the rules off the bat.
That's fine. We're the podcast without borders. Do it.
I would love to hear Reggie Cannon. He is a player for Dallas, and I just think he's so dynamic on the field, and I would just love to hear kind of how he communicates with his teammates. And then also just in any capacity, I would like to hear the goalkeeper mic'd up, because I think it's so important to hear that communication just move forward.
Yes.
And I don't think we hear it enough. And so Obviously, that would be Jimmy for us now, but just in any capacity, whoever is in that position.
Absolutely. Go back to Chris.
Yeah, on the field, I think is interesting. So I'm thinking our captain, Michael Bradley, partially because he's like pretty reserved, in his interviews and kind of behind the scenes off the pitch. But on the pitch, I mean, obviously the guy is the captain and he's like a serious leadership force. So I want to know what is he actually yelling at the other guys, and like how is he, controlling from the middle of the field and things like that. And because we never really, he's always there and you don't notice him, but he's yelling something. So what is he yelling?
Right. Well, to kind of or add on what you're saying, what I would be really interested in is hearing, like, every time he talks to a referee, I'm always wanting to know what he's saying to the ref. That's just something that I'm into, amongst other sports and athletes as well. Okay, Jess.
Bailey kind of stole my answer because I actually didn't choose a player. I just chose a position, and I have to agree. The goalkeeper is always communicating with his teammates, and you don't always get to hear what exactly they are saying. So I would have the goalkeeper mic'd for a game.
Absolutely. Years ago, I read an article, now not soccer related, but it was a hockey one. And they were talking about how hockey goalies are basically a different breed. Now, if you translate that to soccer, same thing. I can totally vouch for that. I'm sure all of you can as well. So, Steph.
Well, to add on to different breed, I believe the term is called masochist. They like to be shot at with items going at high speed. Like, mind you, to be fair, you want a fit goalkeeper. Look at water polo goalkeepers. Those guys are insane. Yes. I do like the idea of the goalkeeper. I remember when Maxime Crapeau played for us, when he was the keeper, whenever he was in our end, you'd hear him yell, especially when goals were let in by the defenders, and he'd just lose it. I remember once he finally really lost it and went pure Quebecois swearing. I was like, oh, damn, he's serious. They really fucked up. I just, but I'm going to go completely different. I want to mic the ref.
Yeah.
Because they do it in rugby. Now, if a player starts mouthing off at the ref, do you really think they would mouth off if they knew people weren't listening to the conversation? Because then all of a sudden, yeah, we know what you did last time. Calm down. Then the players are held more accountable for going after the ref. So I would want the ref mic'd up just to encourage the discipline on the field, not have the swarm of, didn't you see he fell down? Half the teams go after the ref because one person fell down. Dude, you fell down. You made the call. Grow up. Move on. Yeah, I'm a bit mean on that.
Okay, let's go with Chris. And what is the best way for players to connect with the fans and supporters, do you think, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think in at the end of games, I mean, there isn't that much opportunity for them. So at the end of the games, to come over to the fans is a big deal. I think that's really it's when after that 90-minute battle, whatever the outcome, there's that opportunity to really acknowledge and kind of that's when we stop chanting and stop what we're doing and kind of, well, we don't stop chanting, we're still chanting for them, but we're actually looking directly at them. And there's that kind of, there's been lots of games when maybe in a loss, and the guys that come over and they give us the clap, and there's that kind of eye contact. It's soldiering on. I think that's and if they want to hop over the railing and come in the stands and whatever too, that's great. But it's that connection that we've been through the same thing with them. I think that's a great moment to share.
Absolutely. Stefan?
I think I might end up stealing Jess's answer on this one. So OSEG used to do this with Fury, and at the end of the game, they let the fans go on the field to talk to the players. They clear off the away team first, and then The home team's on the field, so players made interactions. They talked to kids, became fans of the team, the players. Like they felt they made that connection. Me, I didn't really do it except that one time, and Anton and I got our hearts broken.
Yeah.
So they signed a player named Charlie Ward. Nice guy, hilarious guy. But we were excited. Oh, he played for Aston Villa Academy. Yes, we're going to go over. We're going to meet the guy. He asked Anton, hey, you want me to sign your jacket? And I'm like, no, I just wanted to meet you. So when did you become a Villa fan? I'm not. I'm in Birmingham City. And our hearts broke. No one caught the picture of our hearts breaking on the field. He's one of the funniest players our team ever had, and I enjoyed the guy. He was great. So, but things like that, if you can give half hour after a game just to talk to the fans, get to know them. Me, I always like the idea of players that aren't traveling to games to crash away parties or crashing the bar after they're done their warm-ups. That's my real, when you're all at the bar, you're, so happy we won, and one guy just comes up with 2 drinks. How you doing, lads? What? Holy! Yeah. That's my idea of having fun with the players. But
all right, Jess.
Stefan, you stole part of my answer.
Just
yes.
It's just a flesh wound then.
So at this point in time, I actually have to say social media. There's really no games. So social media, Twitter, Instagram, and then when it's game day, having the players at the end of the game coming over to the supporters section. They used to give us high fives or shake our hands. We'd have a little bit of interaction, and also the fans going on the field after the game, and the kids getting to interact with players and getting autographs. I think is the best way for players to connect with fans.
Absolutely. Bailey.
I feel really lucky being a Dallas fan. I feel like sometimes maybe we get access to our teams or our team that others may not, just because, and I guess we have high profile players, but so many of them are homegrown in a sense that we know the family. And so I always, I remember after the Toronto-Montreal game that I brought the shield to Toronto. When we were in the bar after the game, I actually was on the phone with Kellen Acosta's mom, and I still talk to her. And, we're friends with some of the wives. The players they sometimes will come help paint stuff, or they'll come to, we do a 24-hour tailgate, and they'll come out the night before and hang out with us and talk to us. And so I feel like when I think about it, it's more of that family aspect, and it's when they don't act like players, but they just act like one of us. And we know that they're in our community and care about the community.
Right.
And I think you see it in other places too, right? So anytime the players really kind of invest, whether they go paint tifo with the supporters or they show up to events or whatever, that to me goes even further beyond the after the game, right? It's really investing in that community. So I think that's, that would be my biggest.
Cool. All right, back to Jessica. So what would you say is like maybe the one thing or the few things that fans and supporters look forward to the most?
Home games, road trips. Now that we're in a league where we can actually travel, there will be more road trips. Because when we were in the USL, it was so hard to get a group of us to go down to the States and to take time off. So I'm looking forward to that, and then viewing parties. Then it's during the off season. I kind of go a little crazy because I don't know what to do. Like, it's my life for the summer months.
Right, absolutely, spot on.
Yeah.
Back to Bailey. Yes, you.
Oh, sorry.
Who couldn't be you? Chris stole the cookie from the cookie jar.
I love cookies. So obviously there's a ton of things, but there is one thing that is God's gift to sports, and it is tailgating.
Yes.
And we miss our tailgates so bad in Texas.
Yeah.
Obviously, having 2 home tailgates before everything shut down, and we're not touching that for a while. But I think that's what we're going to be looking forward to most. Yes, the soccer is great. Yes, it's coming back. We're super, super excited. But I always hone in on that idea of community that you get with the supporters groups. And when you get to start tailgating with somebody 4 hours before a game, it's just a whole nother aspect that I can't wait.
Right. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a huge break from games, and really we're looking forward to having a team to support again.
Yes.
But being able to support together is almost more than 50% of what this is all about. You know?
Right.
Like it's and whether we're smaller groups or whatever, because whether it's at a home game or an away game, it's that coming together. And we're kind of in the same excitement level, or bringing each other up to the same excitement level. And this whole tournament format thing that we're going into is going to be intense because things are going to be on the line. And so I'm just looking forward to, supporting together, whether we're apart or not.
Yeah, absolutely, man, for sure. Steph?
Well, it's kind of like what Bailey said. Well, yeah, we don't do tailgating in Canada. We're allowed to, but it's Lansdowne. There's enough bars by the stadium that we can't justify it. But we were talking about the walk from the old Shoeless Joe's to BMO Field versus the walk in Ottawa. It's about the same amount of energy, but ours is shorter, but because you got to go uphill versus walking nice flat. You got to walk up Bank Street, then over the bridge and into the stadium. But it's, as Bailey said, everybody. It's the norm effect, as I call it. Everybody in that supporter section, everybody knows your name. That's it. They walk in the door, everybody says Norm. So that's the one thing I really miss, too, is the drumming, because that's my anger management right there. It's just hitting that drum. If I'm angry that day and I get to go on drumming, it's just, wrong song, sorry. I changed it up back to the song we're doing. My bad. But it's things like that. You also learn your creativity on the fly chants if it dies down a bit. People get to come out of their shell a bit more in the supporter section, I find, because they're in a zone where nobody cares who you are. You're here to support the team. Great. We don't care if you have a lisp. And then you get more proud of yourself. It's encouragement. And then you get the love stories we got with Nicole and Graham. Meeting in a supporter section. Now I have a 2-year-old girl, going to be 3. So you have that as well. It's that whole social culture that develops that, in fairness, the sports media doesn't really talk about that much. That behind the scenes culture that drives teams. So
cool. All right, Jesse.
Yes.
Now we're getting into the Final Four. Somehow my brain was thinking, you know what, let's save the heavy hitters for last. So we always hear about the importance of, good team culture for any team in any sport, right? So, to you, like, what are some of the core ingredients for strong supporters culture?
I only chose one, and it's a very important one, or I think it's a very important one, and that is communication. Because everything falls apart without communication. So the way that in the past, when we're now finally moving back to Section W, but when we were originally in Section W, BBSC would be front row, and then SMR would be behind us. So we would have a couple of members from the Bytown boys be in the middle between our group and SMR. So if SMR started a chant, they would join in, but the capo would be up front and can see them. So then it's kind of like they were, the people in between were relaying the message down to the capo, and then everybody would join in and with the chant that was going on.
Twilight Park.
Yeah. Chris?
So the question is what? It's what makes
so like what are some of the core ingredients for strong supporters culture in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the teamwork element, coming together, this like because there's so many different initiatives that can come up from match day to, things that are going on in the week between match day and whatever you're doing in your group. So it's kind of like finding the people who are interested in contributing, and then working together to create something, or get something done, or be ready for match day. And it's the same thing that goes on in the stands, right? Like whether you're working between capos, or you're working
Right.
with your drummer and your your key chanters and things like that. I don't know, it's the teamwork thing. But I between like the front office though and the supporter, like we exist in a kind of a culture, and we're kind of in our own, it's our thing, and there's so many different aspects of it. But like being able to liaise between, so that the front office understands like the value of what we're doing, and like that we value it, and that it means something, like that, we're not just there watching soccer or whatever.
Right.
This is something beyond that. And getting them on board is, sometimes you've got people in the front office that are really receptive and kind of into it. Maybe they came from it, who knows, right?
Right.
And then there's some guys that don't really know about it, and so kind of like finding a way to connect with them so that they support you is really a big factor, I think.
Absolutely, man. Steph.
So Anton and Jess has seen me go through the highs and lows and the hair pulling of BBSC. I'm sure many members of our group has seen my epic rants and meltdowns online at the club, including in person in front of the staff. But again, it's the hard work, the teamwork, the communication. The problem is, I can't remember Jeffrey's name. He used to run the Tri Soccer Fanatics in Carolina, and he said everybody wants to party, nobody wants to set it up. So for a supporters group to grow, people have to be willing to step up and lend a hand as best as they can, but not say, I'm always willing to help, but nobody tells me what to do. No, just show up. Pick up a shovel, get in there, and they'll point you in the right direction. If I know you're there working, I'll get you to help me, no problem. I'm not going to ask you to help me if I know you're not going to come show up. That's how I go. So when I did setup, Anton would join me sometimes. He says, well, I'm going to the game today straight. I got nothing, so I'm going to join you on your way. And he'd help me do setup. Yo, where do you want this? How do you want this tied up? Yeah. And we work together. So other members of the group do the same thing. But until you show up, I don't count you there. I know it's kind of a negative view, but I'm not setting my hopes too high because I want to get this done. I want to get done right. So as soon as somebody steps up and shows up in the pit, all right, let's go, get to work, buddy. You're my new friend. Let's go. So it's more people actually stepping up to do work, and people in the group have. Like, this is why, if you look at our council, I'm the only original member. Simon's council member from USL days, and Jess, same thing. So I'm one of the last few from the PDL days, CSL days. And this, again, everybody knows it's my last year because the group to grow needs me off. They need new blood. So.
Bailey.
Yeah, I'm gonna, I guess, approach this from more of like a bigger picture type thing. I could probably speak for days on what I think it takes as far as it was when I was in Dallas. But when you look at supporters culture in general, I think when you see effective and successful groups, you have the communication that many have talked about. You have that teamwork. You have those people who are willing to step up and do the work. But I think you also have to include accountability, professionalism, and also being humble. I think with the accountability part, there are a lot. So I feel like in North America, at least, so many of our groups are actual nonprofits. They're actual organizations who have to file taxes, who have to, keep up with their records. And so there has to be accountability when you are looking at the business aspect of it. And it really sucks that you have to talk about it as a business sometimes, but in order to do what's right for the group, sometimes you do have to see those aspects of it. With that comes the professionalism, right? Like, as much as I want to go online and ream some people sometimes, that's not professional. That doesn't get me a seat at the table. That doesn't help my communication lines with the front office or the league. And so sometimes you do have to sit back, and that brings in being humble, right? It's not about you at the end of the day. And I think a lot of times people are drawn to certain things per ego, or don't want to let go of things with that. And this is not a culture for that. This is about a team. We are literally supporting a team, and we have to be a team in that. And so sometimes you have to just, remind yourself it's not about you. So.
Absolutely. You guys bring up super good points. And I hope everyone who's listening to this episode, like, these guys are dropping mad jewels. So it's key stuff, man. All right. Most challenging element of running a supporters group. Jessica, it's your first year. You get to kick this off.
Thanks.
And P.S., I've always said you've done a spectacular job so far.
I know.
Anton, you got a bit under your nose here.
Hell no.
Okay, I guess I have to say, not being able to make everybody happy is the toughest. There have been times this year where council has made a decision, and there's been some people that have been upset because of the decisions that we've made. So I have to say, I know you're not going to be able to make everybody happy, but I guess I have to stick with that, as that's the most difficult thing.
Cool. Chris.
Challenging, it's just getting stuff done. I mean,
yes,
there's a lot. Sometimes, as the season goes on and it's busy, and the schedule can get busy, especially if you throw in side tournaments and things like that. Because like match day is, takes up a lot of energy. But getting things done to either produce something for match day or just have stuff organized behind the scenes, it takes help and hands. And so participation to actually get stuff done takes a lot of energy. And I mean, that's filled up years of my life.
Yes. yes. Bailey.
Yeah. So this is actually my first year where I haven't been on leadership for Dallas. I'm doing ISC only for the first year, which has, ISC is very, very busy, but it's a very different type of busy. So when I think back to my time with Dallas, I think I'm just going to have to echo what some others have said. And it ties back to what some of those core ingredients are that we talked about. One was communication. I would say communication with the other supported groups. That can be difficult within itself, because you're not just navigating the wants of your group, you're having to navigate the wants of the other group as well. And you have to hope that structure is there on both sides, and that the leaders get along. Because if the leaders don't get along, that can present its own issues within game day, right? So I think that's always a challenge. And then also, I think just what Jessica said, making sure that people understand that they're not always going to be happy. Everybody wants a voice, but they have to understand that sometimes their voice is going to be heard. It's just not going to be the decision that is made. And I think we dealt with that a lot in Dallas. We had some people who were like, we're the loud voice. I was like, yes, you're very loud, but you are not the majority, And it's that idea of, you have to do, sometimes you as leaders, you have to make a decision on what's best for the group in the situation, knowing that you have sometimes insider information or information that's not public. And you got to do what is right for the organization, not just now, but also long-term, like looking into the future. Am I setting up my group for success so that if this decision is made, we don't start getting more problems in, and letting others know, like, look, this is just how it is, so.
Steph.
Well, everybody said the right things, but you gotta, as I said, I've made my mistakes in my time in leadership in the group. And every time, like if Jess has had an issue or past presidents have asked me, Okay, this is the problem. What did you do wrong? Okay, this is what I did wrong. Don't do that. If anybody's seen the new Jay and Silent Bob movie, he's talking to his daughter. Said, I've stood outside this wall for most of my life. Don't do that. I teach by showing people my mistakes, so they know not to go down that path. And I think what you need to be able to do is when you fail, accept that you failed, learn from it, get back up, do it again. Do you remember the scene from Mighty Ducks 2? Great, you scored a goal. Now take a drink of water, get back out there and do it again. You just got to keep getting on that horse. As much as the horse wants to throw you out into the next hemisphere, you'd still get on that bloody thing and you do it again. It is a form of math. It's a crazy ride being in the leadership of an SG, but you still have to step up to take the reins, even though you know it's going to hurt.
Yep.
Can I add something in on this real quick?
Yeah.
I just feel like shout out to anybody who is in leadership of a supporter group.
Yeah.
It is a second full-time job that you do not get for, and I don't think any of us actually touched on that. The availability that you have to have as a leader to answer calls when it's not your actual paid job is just insane. And so I just want to make sure everyone knows, like, leaders are working a second job for you. Be nice to them, please.
And it's very, very, very thankless. It is a granted super, like you guys said, it's high intensity. It's mad stress. It's a lot of people, especially depending on the dynamic of your groups and how many members you got, how many people are actually showing up to matches and getting involved behind the scenes, tra la 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 la. But all the extras that you've touched on. I mean, like, no one really says thank you much. So I always make it a point to say thanks.
So we all say thank you to the world. Thank you.
Yes.
You're running a group.
Absolutely.
Supporter culture is a labor of love, right? Like, I like to call it that. Like, it really is. Like, it's love for the team and it's love for the culture of support, right?
Absolutely.
It's a method to our madness.
The Steven Seagal game, Anton.
Yes.
Okay, quick story time. So we were driving up to a game in Montreal for TFC. I asked Chris, do you want some drums for the game? He said, yeah, if you could bring them, sure, perfect. We don't have to lug that from Toronto. Yeah, a flock of seagulls flew across the highway. We hit one.
It was stuck in the grill.
And because the way the guy suggested how to take it out wasn't working, I got fed up. Went and got the brand new drummer gloves, like more or less mechanic gloves that I got, pried the bloody thing out with my hands, threw it away, bagged up the gloves, and as soon as we got to the pub, went and just ran it underneath the water. Then I put them on and just washed my hands with the soap available. I know Bailey's giving that look, but you gotta remember, I learned how to gut a chicken in school in Jamaica.
Sometimes you just do without. Sometimes you just do without.
No, it's me. I pick my storytelling from my dad, so that's I'm going to tell you this story, but to understand the story, you need 5 backstories.
No. Yeah, but now in those gloves is a lucky feather. It wasn't feather drumming gloves.
Yeah, we only drew that game, so I don't think it was that lucky. It was 1-1 draw. I remember it because we did it last in the spring, and Gio scored one of the goals, and that's where you guys got the motorcycle tifo from.
Yes, nice, nice.
And that's just the PG version of the story. So
we're trying to not go in the deep
anyway,
end here,
so, okay, Chris, to you, what is the best part of game day?
Just being in the stands, supporting, just being in the stands. I don't know, like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lead up and whatever, and maybe congregating before and stuff, but how can you top being in the stand supporting the the thing that you love or whatever with
Right.
people, with like-minded people. I don't know. That's
Right.
I mean, I don't even, as a Capo, I barely watch the game. I'm all about what's going on in the stands. So it's like,
Mhm.
just upping that energy and whatever. That's
Yeah,
nothing like it,
man.
really.
I fully agree.
You know.
Bailey.
I feel like this is going to be the expected answer of a person from Texas, but tailgating?
Yeah, okay.
Like, and I don't know what the tailgate culture is like up in Canada, but
None.
it's one of the things. I know y'all mentioned y'all have plenty of bars around, and I was at Shoeless Joe's, but we had bars around. It's just it's a culture thing, right? And so I think it's our hype up time. It's when we make a toast to supporters past, present, and future, and we make toast to our teams. Like, there's something about that readiness that comes with that tailgate, the camaraderie as we walk in together from it, that it carries an energy into the stands for the games.
Right.
And so for me, that's almost the best part, because not the party aspect, but the people talking about, what do they think the match is going to be like? What do they think about this or that of the game? And did they watch last week's if it was away? Or, there's a lot of aspects that come in with that tailgate on top of, party.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's that hype up to get everybody ready to bring everything they have for the team.
Yes. Jess.
I went with the atmosphere that is created when you put everything together. So flag waving, drums, chants, jumping. And if you're lucky and you get to have smoke, when you score or when you win, it's a beautiful sight to see. Like, the pictures are amazing when you get pictures taken.
Yes. All right, Steph.
Well, it's more or less the randoms you meet. So Anton and I going to our first TFC game against San Jose. We didn't know anybody. We bought tickets, went down. We went to Shoeless Joe's. Everybody was our friend. Right instantly that, oh, you're wearing the team's colors? Great. Where you been? How are you? How did you get involved? Great. Now you're my friend. You're standing in the stands. Again, TFC related. And as soon as the bounce hits, you're seeing along, and all of a sudden, strangers are putting their hands beside you, around you. And you're like, okay, what's going on? Okay, we're supposed to jump, but you get right into it because everybody brings you in. Oh, you're in the stands? Great. We're going to have fun. Okay, sure. And then all of a sudden, oh, they're my new friends, I guess. Hi, I'm Bob. Hi, Bob. I'm Jin. We ever met before? Yeah, 30 seconds ago. That mentality, and that's what I love about supporter culture, is whoever you support, as long as you're wearing that team's badge and you go into that section, in general, I'm reading an Ultras book right now, so let's not go into that culture. But normal supporter culture, you go in wearing that badge, great, perfect, you're our new friend. How you been? Long time no see. How's your mother? Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. That sort of mentality. I know what you're going through your mind too right now.
So it's the last question of the day, and as always, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to join us and to get involved with this podcast of ours and our little hour of madness that we get, especially during COVID and all this other nonsense. So I realized at the last second it was worded, it could have been reworded, but Bailey, what
Let's do it.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So I actually had a conversation with CPL.
Oh wait, hold on.
Whoa.
Time out. I didn't pose the question yet. That's all.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at it. So.
It's all good. Anyway, so the question is, what role do supporters feel they have in growing the game in either USA, that's for you, or Canada for us?
I want to address Canada first because I think
nice.
That's like a little unique bubble of love. And, I had a short call with CPL before all of the, back before even MLS started, just trying to get a hold of all of the different clubs, seeing, actually, I guess it was more of the COVID time when stuff was starting, just trying to like open up a line of communication and stuff like that. And the one thing that I got from being on the phone with them was that like the league cares about what supporters have to say in CPL. More so than a lot of other leagues. And I think that's really, really encouraging, because I think as the league grows, y'all's voices are really going to be heard in how that growth is done and how things are brought to the table that are of importance to the league. And so I think supporters are going to have a voice at the table in Canada, and you guys are going to be able to shape it in a way that really honors, you know, your country. You're not going to be having to deal with things in a sense that do affect, I guess, you know, we look at MLS, and I think when the majority of the teams are in the United States, I don't know that Canada always has an equal voice at the table when it comes to some stuff. And so I think it's going to be really unique to see that for CPL. In regards to North America in general, I think supporters are really great about making sure that community service is on the forefront of minds, social issues, having that diversity and inclusion. I think these are all things that supporters, you know, they're really good at keeping people accountable for in the stands. And so, you know, not just that, but also growing it in markets. So at every level, MLS, NWSL, USL1, Championship 2, NPSL, whatever it may be, supporters are the ones who are drawing those owners into the cities to even establish teams at this point. So supporters, I mean, they're at the forefront of that. Like, you know, they're the conductors of the train. So choo-choo.
Jessica.
This is the one question I actually don't have an answer for.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Almost a clean sheet today.
Almost.
Well, Anton, if you had let me go before Jess, you probably would have stole my answer.
And speaking of which, Stefan.
Important enough, like when we start organizing our road trips down to Canada games, Evan, my cousin, every time he can make a game, he's enjoyed it. Okay, he didn't enjoy the women's game against Mexico, but his friends weren't into it, so that's their fault, not his. But how I brought Jess on board, you rekindle friendships, you make new friends. So even if it's just come to the local level and then they get into it, they enjoy it more and more and more. Like, how many times you talk about going to Canada games and everybody's like, oh man, I wish I joined you for that road trip. The Canada game, when we found out James was going to be there, the Canada USA game, and he has that perfect weird in the front row, everybody's going nuts. It's a great picture. But that supporters will help grow the game because everybody knows they're going to have a fun time with their friends first. Yeah, the game is secondary in supporter culture. It's more about the community first. And then as soon as they get more and more involved, they love it, they get going, they're going to tell their other friends and their other friends. I do my thing of, hey, you ever been to a game before? No, do you want to? Yeah, okay, your ticket's on me. The only side note is you got to be in our section. Okay.
Yeah.
Come in. They don't like it. They don't like it. They love it. They get their own ticket next time.
Right.
That's the best I can do to try and help grow the game at the simplest level.
And Chris.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the game is secondary. I mean, maybe to some of us, but like, I mean, the success.
I'm used to supporting losing teams, so that's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, the outcome, whatever. But the experience that supporters bring is tied to success with the team, or at least, you know, we that's all of us here. That's what we're kind of promoting.
Right.
Is that like it's like that, right? Like if everyone is having a good time in the stands because of the atmosphere and everything that supporter culture brings, it no doubt has an impact on the team. You know, maybe long term, you know, but you start to see it as supporter culture is more ingrained in every stadium around Canada and the US as groups have grown and it's just become part of, you know, the leagues. There's players coming up, like homegrown local players coming up through the system that when they were 10 and they were, you know, they were playing on their travel teams and they were coming up through their high level thing. They were also going to football matches in their local hometowns, or down the road or whatever. And
Osario.
they remember, and it's like, yeah, I love this game because I'm playing it. I love playing it, but I also see that there are people that love it, and as fans and supporters, and like I can be the one they're cheering for and whatever. And like Jonathan Rosario, like he was in the stands as a kid, and then now he's playing for Canada, and TFC, of course, and just like and even on the women's side, like it's even like a whole other phenomenon on the women's side in Canada and the States, is that there are so many kids playing the game at the amateur level, and seeing the admiration and the love that the national teams get, and that whole like vibe is just something to aspire to. So it grows, it is connected in growing the game. Like success as a supporter, it's bigger picture is success for the game. I don't know. Okay, that's my period.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 13, the Dirty Dozen Supporters Group episode of Boots and Scarves. Jessica, you want to say our handles and things where they can follow us on, please?
Yes. You can follow us. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Boots and Scarves. You can follow us on Twitter at Bytown Boys, Instagram at Bytown Boys, and we have Bytown Boys has a Facebook page and a Facebook group.
Cool. Bailey, anything we can follow online with you?
At ISC Supporters for both Twitter and Instagram. We also are on Facebook. Right now, I guess by the time tomorrow, maybe y'all said it's posting. So we'll still be having some of our Instagram Live Pride interviews going on, as well as post interviews that we've done, including Kaylin Sheridan, who is on the Canadian women's national team. Those have already been posted, so you can still go back and watch them. So check out what ISD supporters are doing on our social media. Get involved, and
Cool. Chris, anything you want to plug in?
Well, just Red Patch Boys is getting ready to fire up as the MLS is back, and anything TFC and whatever that's going on, it's going to be intense, and that's where all the excitement happens. So home and away.
All right. Cool. Thank you guys so much again for your time. Thank you, Bailey from Texas and Chris from Toronto. Stefan in the room behind me, and Jess on the other side of town. It's Boots and Scarves, episode 13, the Supporters Edition, signing out. Thank you.